Give it up for Shad, Stanleigh, everybody, come on.
How's it going tonight? I'm sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Had troubles getting here on the subway. I don't know what it was this time. Signal problem, derailment, dead Russians piled up on the tracks. It wasn't as weird as what happened to me last night, though. Last night the train worked fine, but those recorded announcements weren't working. You know, you avoid sexual conduct, you have to give your seat to an elderly person who's pregnant, and your backpack might be searched. It went something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, when an elderly person is aboard, offer your sexual conduct. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delayed due to unlawful sexual conduct with backpacks and other large containers. And that was a real bummer because at the time I was on my way to my favorite Japanese kosher restaurant, Sosumi. And I'm all ready for the carp tempura and the manashake. And I get there, and it's closed, it's gone. It's turned into condos. Everything in New York turns into condos now. Don't you just yearn for those simpler good old days when everything in New York just turned into a Starbucks? But enough of New York. Let's talk about what's going on in Washington, shall we? Yeah, Sean Spicer, he still can't get on Air Force One. He's still flying United until further notice. You know who was bummed out about that was El Al. They'd love to overbook if he ever got on board. And you see where Trump tweeted the other day that Melania's official White House portrait has been unveiled. So I sent Trump a tweet back asking if I could have my portrait hung at the White House. I mean, after all, I've never lived there either. Truth be told, I've never really understood social media. I've never, gotten the following or, the trending, the friends and all that. It did kind of get into my head. It was the subject of a rather intense therapy session I had once, talking about my social media problem. So my therapist does what he does best, stares at me for 40 seconds, and says, "It sounds like you have all the classic signs of paranoid disorder." I say, classic? I mean, can't we call this adult contemporary paranoid disorder? I mean, now, thanks to social media, we're having delusions of not being followed enough. What is it about if you put something on Twitter, you tweeted something, shouldn't the right term be twat? I mean, it works well in a sentence. I mean, Steve Bannon twat today the release of his premium line of skin neglect products. It works perfectly. And what about working with, rural law enforcement? I twat the sheriff! And Facebook, I always lose Facebook friends around this time of year, end of March, beginning of April. You know those messages you get sent? It says if you share it within the next 5 minutes, you'll become rich. And I did that all last year. But then all these people defriended me after I kept pestering them for W-2s. And then there's the time I wanted to announce on Facebook that I was taking classes to become a stand-up comedian. And then someone called 911. I wonder how that call went. 911, what's the emergency? Yeah, there's this 50-year-old half-Irish, half-Jewish, bald guy who wants to tell jokes in public. Another one. And he went to law school. And how about those political threads that you get into screaming fights with people you've never met? I get called a snowflake all the time. I don't get this thing about if you have a problem with Trump, you're a snowflake. Snowflake sounds like a pretty Republican term to me. After all, they're white, they're frigid, and when they and their buddies really get organized and get together, they shut down all the public services. And then someone messages me on Facebook, he gets real nasty, he says, he's gonna make America great again, Moran. Well, I am half Irish, but the family name is McGrath. Well, listen, you've been great, and remember, if you see any unlawful package on a connecting passenger on an arriving train, offer the police sexual conduct. Thanks a lot.
Shad, Stanleigh, everybody, come on, give it up.